looking at the odds here, the outright favorite, and I don't mean barely, I mean the big time favorite, is the man himself, Scotty Scheffler, plus 320 for the win here. The next closest, Rory McIlroy, who, by the way, played very, very well in the AT&T Pebble Beach, but Rory McIlroy, 11-1. Schauffele is back, 12-1. Justin Thomas, Morikawa, Matsuyama, Obear, Cantley. I could keep going. It's just one of those tournaments here, my man. Your initial thoughts here when you look at this field, when you look at this course, what are you most excited about for the Waste Management?
I think the thing I'm most excited about for the Waste Management is really the first time this year where it feels like the full field is back. For the first couple of tournaments this year, obviously Scotty Scheffler had to miss because he had his injury, so he missed the first couple of tournaments. He's now getting back into his playing shape. You didn't have Rory for a couple of them. Schauffele, like you mentioned, he's getting back into it. So it feels like for the first time this year, the field that you want to watch every tournament compete in is going to be finally hitting the course at the same time for a full weekend. So that's probably what I'm most excited about. Obviously, it's always fun to see Scotty Scheffler back in playing shape, healthy, all that kind of stuff, and going up against some of the best golfers in the world. But what's been kind of fun without the full field over these first couple tournaments is you've seen some guys who maybe you didn't know about before the year started come out and not only win tournaments, but be competitive in every single one. One of them, I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. Guy who's been killing it to start the year is Sepp Straka. He's been phenomenal to start. He's been balling ever since the season started. And so it's kind of interesting to see if these smaller name guys who took advantage of a weaker, for lack of a better word, weaker field to start the tournament, if they can now in a weekend like this, if they can push guys like Scotty Scheffler, if they can push guys like Xander Schauffele to their limits in a big deal tournament that everyone's going to be watching. So I think the field itself is probably what I'm most excited about.
I'm right there with you, man. And to be fair, it's not just the field, but it's the actual field, aka the course that they're playing on. It's just such a good time, so much fun. We all love to watch the 16th. The people are just praying for a hole-in-one here to get the crowd going, get the beers flying. We saw a couple years back, one of the most exciting moments probably the last decade in golf was that hole-in-one there on the 18th when shirts started getting taken off and things got wild up there on that hole. So with that said, you guys see some of the odds here on a lot of these golfers. We're going to go ahead and zoom back on up to the top here, though, so we can go ahead and break down who's going to win this tournament, our top 10 placers, maybe some top 20 for you. But with no further ado, once again, Scotty Scheffler, a major 320 favorite, followed by Rory McIlroy at 11-1. Bryson Owens, looking at this board, my brother, let's start here with not a long shot. Your actual favorite on this board that's jumping out to you. Which name are you looking at?
So first of all, on this board, you look at a couple of these names. There's already a couple guys here who've both won this tournament multiple times. Obviously, the favorite up there, Scotty Scheffler, won back-to-back years. But I'm actually looking at another guy who won back-to-back years almost a full decade ago. Give me Hideki Matsuyama, just a little bit down there. I think he has the sixth best odds in this one. He's been phenomenal to start this year. And again, he's kind of benefited from guys like Scotty not being around for the first couple of tournaments. But he, as of right now, first in the FedEx Cup point races right now. He has a win already on the year. He's won this tournament twice, like I've mentioned. He fits this course really well. And he's playing some of the best golf of his entire career right now. And when you're waiting for Scotty to be Scotty again, you're waiting for Rory to be Rory again. A guy like Matsuyama, who's been really good all year, is a guy who can come in and be not so much of a long shot, lesser named guy, but not one that everyone's going to be thinking of first when they take a winner in this one. So I really like the way Hideki's playing right now.
Hideki Matsuyama. I can't hate on your pick there, my brother, but I'm going to go with a guy who probably doesn't deserve it, but I love him with all my freaking heart. And he's looked so good to start the year. He had a kind of rough second day round there at Pebble Beach, but this guy right here is playing good golf, and he is due to take a Waste Management Open. That is my boy Justin Thomas, who, by the way, in 2023, did finish in 4th place. He's finished in the top 5 multiple times at the Waste Management, but he's never walked away with the trophy. I like the kind of golf he's playing. He's bounced back from that 18-month weird shakedown. Some things happening in his life. Like, he just kind of seemed off a little bit over the last season and a half to 2 seasons. I think Justin Thomas is back. I love him to go ahead and get this tournament done. So Hideki Matsuyama and Justin Thomas at the moment are our picks. Now, Bryson, I know you and I definitely both like Xander Schauffele, both like Scotty Scheffler, both guys, obviously, like you mentioned, kind of getting back in the swing of things, etc. Scotty's playing at the Pebble Beach. Xander's kind of waiting for this one right here. And Xander loves the Waste Management. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him get it done. I just don't know if he's going to be sharpened up quite enough to walk out here with this field and get this thing done. But with that said, let's look a little bit deeper down the board here. Maybe a little bit more of what could be considered a long shot here. We'll go ahead and show you guys some of the odds. But if there's a name that pops out to you anywhere past about 35, 40 to 1, let me know who you're liking.
Yeah, there's a few names on here that obviously are really fun names to keep an eye on. I think obviously the name I just mentioned earlier, Sepp Straka, is a name to keep an eye on just because he's been very competitive in every tournament so far to start this year. There's some bigger name guys like Jordan Spieth and Jason Day, Wyndham Clark down the line. I think one of my favorite, if I had to pick a more of a long shot type of winner though, I like Will Zalatoris. You can get him at plus 4,500. He's viewed by pretty much everyone in the industry as one of the more talented golfers in the world. The problem is he had, over the last couple of years, he's been dealing with a lot of injuries. He has not been super healthy consistently in his career. But when he's healthy, he's a guy who can compete with the top 5 to 10 guys 100%. In the PGA Tour. So I think if you're looking for a guy, as he seems healthy to start the year, it seems like all those injuries are kind of on the wayside, on the back burner of his life. He seems to be moving past those. So I think Will's a name to keep an eye on as someone who should be able to compete in this tournament really well because he fits this course. Again, it's one of those courses where it's big scoring, obviously. You saw the last couple winners, minus 21 for Nick Taylor last year. Like, this is not one where it's going to be a minus 8 winner. It's going to be a guy who can rack up strokes. So I think a guy like Will Zalatoris, healthy, should be able to compete.
Bryson, when I looked at the Pebble Beach predictions before I put mine in, I saw you took my boy Will Zalatoris, and I wasn't too happy about it. So I like me some Will Zalatoris. I will ride with this kid until the very freaking end. His back injury was a legit injury. It wasn't BS. It wasn't things going on in his personal life. It was a genuine sports injury. To think that this guy's not focused, to think that he's not 100% in golf would just be stupid. I love your pick at 45 to 1. Now, let me tell you something. There's a name on this board, and I'm a little bit surprised to see him at the odds here, and that's Russell Henley. And I'm not a massive Russell Henley guy, but the thing is, Russell Henley the last few weeks has looked phenomenal. He was the first-round leader at Pebble Beach. He was up there on the top of that board for the entire tournament, and now he's coming in here at 50 to 1 behind a couple guys like, I know Sepp's been playing well too, but you got Hojgaard on here. You got Theegala on here. You got Tom Kim on here. Max Greiserman's on here. Keegan Bradley's above him. Like, do you think Russell should be a little bit closer to that 40 number, or do you think 50's fair?
I think 50 is pretty fair because I think, like you mentioned, he's a golfer who can definitely, over the first couple days of a tournament, be pushing guys at the top. But it seems like you and I talk about personally all the time, just off the shows about Viktor Hovland. He's one of those guys who just, there's always that one round or a couple holes where it's just like something happens, he messes up a couple times, and all of a sudden he goes from like 7th down to barely in the top 20. So I think where Henley is fine for me personally, just because, again, full field, all the best golfers in the world are back. I think that kind of is his kind of range in terms of where he should be ranked.
Fair enough. And once again, I'm not a massive Russell guy. To see him at 50 to 1, I think maybe like you mentioned, maybe first round leader, maybe something like that is worth a look. But it's hard to think that Pebble Beach and Waste Management are two insanely different courses. And I don't really know if that's going to just transfer over because you played great here to go win another first round. Going to be tough there. But once again, maybe a name to keep an eye on here. Now, when I look at this board, I always think it's hard to fade Tony Finau when you're talking waste management. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give my boy a little bit of credit here. I haven't been taking Tony Finau lately on anything. I don't know the last time I took Tony Finau on a golf bet, but whenever I see Tony Finau at 50 to 1 or more odds at a relatively flat course, desert kind of course, I struggle to just not touch him. So he might be a better top 20 pick, but I don't really care here. 50 to 1. Let me try Tony Finau out to go ahead and get this done. When you look at the board here, once again, no full odds out on like top 10s and stuff. But when you look at these names up here, which guy just jumps off the board that, man, that guy's probably going to compete, but he's not a winner kind of guy, maybe a top 10 or top 20 pick? Who would you be looking at?
Well, you already know who my favorite top 20 guy is. We talked about him just a second ago. Viktor Hovland seems like a guaranteed top 20 guy every time. Not really a guy who's going to compete for winning, but he's going to be a guy who's going to be in the mix every single tournament. So I think if you want to, in my opinion, a guaranteed top 20 guy, Victor's a pretty good one there. And then I think this is a guy that last year, I feel like you took him as one of your winners in a lot of the tournaments we did last year. But for a top 10 guy, Ludwig Aberg is a good option, in my opinion, for a top 10 finish.
However, did you see how he started at Pebble Beach?
Yep.
Last place.
Yeah, he's not gone off to a great start this year, that's for sure. But Waste Management is a course where sometimes people can kind of get their fix going. It's a very player-friendly course. Like I mentioned, it's big scores. This isn't a course where the winner is going to be a -8 or whatever. This is a good course for someone who maybe is off to a rough start to start the year, and he can find his groove in this one.
Right there with you. Ludwig Aberg. We're going to go ahead and give the guy a shot here if you guys want to check him out there. But with all that said, make sure you guys check out sportsforummedia.com. Our man Bryson Owens, Monday night, we'll have that article up for you. And then you guys have a couple days to get those bets in. The rest of our crew at the Sports Forum also going to drop their picks on the Waste Management as well. So you'll see tons of guys giving their winner, their long shot, their top 10, and their top 20 locked in picks. Our picks might change between now and then too. So who knows? So make sure to check out the article, sportsforummedia.com. And all you football fans, we got that Super Bowl and all that stuff up for you as well on the website. So make sure to check that out. But until next time, guys, Riggs Tamburo, Bryson Owens, do us a favor. Don't bet anything that you can't afford to lose. Enjoy the golf tournament. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And we'll see you guys on Monday morning.